Have you ever wondered if the Roman Empire's iron grip on a massive territory was just military muscle, or if hidden manipulations and elite schemes kept the masses in check for centuries? Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Jeremy Ryan Slate Show. I am your host, Jeremy Ryan Slate, the CEO and co-founder of Command Your Brand, your source for appearing on top podcasts as a guest. You can grab our Command Your Empire blueprint so you too can command an online public relations empire over at commandyourempire.com. Reminder, if you're brand new to this channel, to like this video, leave us a comment, and smash that subscribe button so you get all new notifications if you want to learn more hidden history. Reminder, you can always follow me on X. I am at Jeremy Ryan Slate over there as well. And today we're marching into the heart of one of history's greatest superpowers, the Roman Empire, their control tactics, and how they managed an expansive territory. If you're like me with a podcast background, also a master's degree in this stuff, where I've interviewed historians and conspiracy buffs, you know that empires don't just conquer, they control, often with layers of strategy that feel downright conspiratorial. Picture this. By 117 AD under Trajan, the Roman Empire spanned over 5 million square kilometers, from Britain to Egypt, Spain, and Mesopotamia, ruling over 50 to 60 million people with roads, legions, and cunning policies. But how did they hold it together for nearly 500 years? Was it military might? Well, sure, but also administration, cultural assimilation, and perhaps some behind-the-scene manipulations to keep rebellions at bay. And here's why I find this absolutely fascinating. As someone who's always chased historical angles with a bit of a conspiratorial bent, Rome's tactics aren't just ancient relics. They echo in modern power structures, questioning how elites maintain control today. Today we'll unpack verifiable history, names, dates, and places from some sources like Britannica, History.com, and Khan Academy, while weaving in plausible theories that have an intriguing twist for our story. If you're casually into history or conspiracies, this is for you. No Latin required. Had to take it for 13 years in school, though. Just an open mind. So let's conquer this. All right, to understand Rome's control, we have to start at the beginning. The city's legendary founding in 753 BC by Romulus, though that's more myth than fact. Rome began as a kingdom until 509 BC, when the last king, Tarquin the Proud, was overthrown, birthing the Roman Republic. This Republic era, from 509 to 27 BC, saw explosive growth. By 264 BC, Rome controlled all of Italy after wars like the Pyrrhic War in 280 to 275 BC against King Pyrrhus of Epirus, where victories came at huge costs, hence the term Pyrrhic victory. The Punic Wars from 264 to 146 BC against Carthage in North Africa were game changers. Hannibal, the Carthaginian general, crossed the Alps in 218 BC with elephants, sacking Italy. But Rome triumphed under generals like Scipio Africanus at Zama in 202 BC. By 146 BC, Carthage was razed and Rome dominated the Mediterranean. Expansion continued. Greece fell in 146 BC. Gaul, which is modern France, was conquered by Julius Caesar from 58 to 50 BC and documented in his commentaries on the Gallic War. Britain was invaded in 43 AD under Claudius. At its peak under Trajan, which is 98 to 117 AD, the empire stretched from Hadrian's Wall. And a quick editor's note here, because I know someone in the comments is going to be like, Hadrian was after Trajan. Yes, that's correct, but I'm using a denoting point that people can look for on a map and understand where it is. Anyway, Hadrian's Wall in Scotland to the Euphrates River in Iraq. But how did they manage it? Well, early on, it was alliances with local tribes, a divide and conquer or divide et impera strategy. And as a podcaster who's debated empire building and also studied a lot about Rome, I see Rome's success in adaptability. And that's not just swords, but savvy politics. Conspiratorially, did elites like the Senate orchestrate wars for personal gain? Manipulating public fear of barbarians, which, by the way, the word barbarian comes from barbary, which was Latin for beard. So it's plausible, given records of corrupt magistrates profiting from provinces. And they were often legally charged after that. This growth demanded control systems. Next, the military machine. Rome's army was legendary. Professionalized under Marius in 107 BC, shifting from citizen militias to standing legions of about 5,000 men each, recruited from the poor and loyal to generals. By Augustus's time in 27 BC, 28 legions guarded the frontiers, stationed in imperial provinces like Germania and Syria. So their tactics: discipline and innovation. The testudo formation, which was shields locked together like a turtle shell. They could deflect arrows during sieges, like at Alesia in 52 BC, where Caesar trapped Vercingetorix. Fortifications, limes borders. These were walls, forts like Vindolanda in Britain. The auxiliaries. So these were non-citizen troops from the provinces granted citizenship after 25 years of service, later in the empire 30 years of service, integrated locals and reducing rebellion risks. Per EBSCO's military history, this organization crushed foes from the Parthians in the east to the Celts in the west. From my perspective, this was engineering meets brutality, a system that turned conquest into control. Conspiratorially, did the military-industrial complex of the time, armorers and suppliers, influence policy to keep wars going? Well, this is plausible and this echoes modern parallels, though it's a bit speculative without real direct evidence. So comment below, if you were a Roman legionary, what tactic would you fear most facing? Let's discuss in the comments, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and maybe a hot take or two. With territory secured, Rome governed through provinces. And these were first created in 241 BC with Sicily. By the empire, they were two types: senatorial provinces, peaceful areas like Africa governed by proconsuls appointed by the Senate, and imperial provinces. These were frontier zones like Britannia under legates that were chosen by the emperor himself. Governors collected taxes and enforced laws and judged cases, but with oversight to curb corruption. The cursus honorum, or the career ladder for elites, ensured that experienced administrators received positions. Local autonomy helped, and cities like Ephesus in Asia Minor retained councils handling daily affairs while also paying tribute. Personally, this decentralized approach absolutely fascinates me. Smart delegation kept the machine running. But conspiratorially was the Praetorian Guard, the elite bodyguard formed by Augustus in 27 BC, a shadow power auctioning the throne after assassinating emperors, just like Caligula in 41 AD. Well, it's quite plausible because if you look at the history, they actually installed Claudius, Caligula's uncle, manipulating the succession, and many more times after this. So control wasn't all swords. Rome used soft power. Romanization was the spread of Latin, baths, amphitheaters to provinces like Gaul or Hispania. Emperor Caracalla in 212 AD granted citizenship to free all men via the Constitutio Antonina, boosting loyalty and gave him the ability to tax their inheritance. So as for economic control, roads like the Appian Way, built in 312 BC, spanned 132,000 miles by their peak, facilitating trade and troops. Aqueducts brought water to cities like Segovia in Spain. As for taxes, the census under Augustus counted populations for efficient collection. So bread and circuses were free grain and games in Rome, and it kept the urban poor content, per the poet Juvenal around 100 AD. So what do you think? Was bread and circus genius social engineering or a conspiratorial distraction from inequality? Share your thoughts in the comments, and I might shout them out on the next time we do one of these episodes. Conspiratorially, did the emperor cult, deifying emperors like Augustus after his death, serve as propaganda to unify diverse peoples, which hid autocratic controls behind divine right? Well, it's plausible, and it spread across the provinces, and it's actually what my degree is in, funny enough. I studied how the Roman Emperor Augustus convinced people he was God and the tools he used to do it. By the 3rd century, crisis hit. Invasions, inflation, and the crisis of the 3rd century, which is 235 to 284 AD, with 26 emperors, many of which were killed. Diocletian reformed in 284 AD, splitting the empire into East and West and creating the Tetrarchy, which simply means the rule by 4. Constantine reunited it briefly in 324 AD, moving the capital to Constantinople in modern-day Turkey. The Western fall in 476 AD, when Odoacer deposed the final teenage emperor, Romulus Augustulus. But economic woes and barbarian invasions, did they cause it? Well, I don't know. How about legacies? Well, Roman law influences the modern codes, roads evolved into highways, and conspiratorially, do echoes persist in today's global powers? Well, using media as circuses for control, I could definitely see that. It's a bit speculative, but it is thought-provoking. As I wrap here, there's one thing I'm hooked on in my discussions that shows Rome's tactics as timeless blueprints for power, history repeating and sometimes rhyming, or conspiracies enduring. Thanks again for joining me on the Jeremy Ryan Slate Show. If this episode conquered your curiosity, hit that subscribe button, the like button, and share this episode with a friend. Head over to jeremyryanslate.com for more history with a twist, as well as blog posts and other things as well. It's a brand new site. We're rolling it out. So military might or cultural cunning? What was Rome's best control tactic? Comment below, and I'll see you next time on the Jeremy Ryan Slate Show. Stay curious.